Magic is complicated. You can consider magic a whole scientific study within itself. So today, for you snails, I am going to be discussing the basics of magic. Magic 101. Before we begin, we are going to have to go over two definitions. Now, definitions are important, but they are flawed. As we get into more advanced studies of magic, these definitions won't always work. But they are helpful for right now, so we're all on the same page when it comes to what we're talking about. Our first definition is power. Powers are the abilities of the deities that only they can possess. For our second definition, well, magic itself. Magic is when a mortal uses an ability that does not come naturally to them, usually with the assistance in some way from a deity. We aren't done yet. We need to go over the three core principles to both power and magic: the mind, the body, and the soul. Think of the mind as the command, the body, the physical, and of course, soul is the energy, the power. When we speak of the soul, we usually relate one soul to one individual. However, soul is more of an energy. There isn't a unified amount of soul per individual. For example, if you were to lose your arm, you would also lose some of the soul that was stored in that. This won't affect you spiritually, as you still contain an equal amount of mind, body, and soul. And there is some wiggle room when it comes to that. So, for our first branch of magic, we are going to be talking about blessing. But to understand blessings, we need to understand the power of the god. While we sometimes relate gods very heavily to soul, since they created, gods are more so what we would call the masters of the mind. They are the masters of commanding the soul. Through this, they can channel soul that isn't attached to their own physical form, manifesting it in many diverse ways. What tends to happen is that mortals believe a god can do something, and the god not only uses its own mind, but that belief in the command of the mortal to enact its ability. For example, say a god is able to turn someone to stone with a look. The god believes it can do so and uses its own mind to do so. People who've heard the tale believe it can do so, and thus the god uses their minds to enhance its ability to do so. However, it still needs to lock eyes with the target. And even if the target itself does not believe the god can do so, or is unaware of it, the god has enough support to override the individual's personal belief. This leaves gods to having very powerful abilities. However, it can also cause a lot of loopholes. What do we count as locking eyes? A lot of that requires testing, though, which can be unethical. We don't want to take a bunch of mortals with very different definitions of the ability of sight and see which ones can and cannot be turned to stone. Blessings have to be given or asked for in a certain way. This can be quite difficult, as while gods like attention and need it to exist, they often don't like to give it back, at least not to any individual specifically. So what happens is rituals tend to pop up as mortals try their best to gain the attention and the favor of their god. Some people even spending their entire lives just to get blessing. One of the downsides of this is the god can just straight up refuse. Even if you get their attention, it doesn't mean the god will help you. Or you can get the attention from a different deity who might help you, but for a different cause. or a different price. Our next form of magic relies on Titans. Titans are the master of the body. They are good at what we call enhancing themselves. What differentiates a Titan and a mortal, the Titan is able to use their soul to enhance their already physical capabilities to go beyond that of their related species. But since a Titan is so specific in what it can do, even when parts of its body are lost, the soul will still linger in those parts. Sheddings, excrements, all these things can be used for what we consider to be casting. The soul of the Titan still lingers within the object and still knows what it's meant to do. For example, if you have a Titan that is adapted to breathe fire, even its scales will know that the purpose is to create fire. The soul just becomes that specialized for that thing. So even when the scale is not attached to the Titan, you can use it for casting to create fire. It's not that simple though. You need to do what we call extending one's own soul, allowing your soul to slightly move beyond the limits of your physical body and interact with the soul of another object, in this case the scale of this Titan. Once it does, that allows your mind and the soul to kickstart it into doing what it's meant to do. There's a great downside to casting like this. As we know, Titans are adapted to consume mortals and convert their soul into the soul of the Titan. This can still happen even in these small cases. So when you pull your soul back into yourself, you're pulling in some of the lingering Titan soul into you too. Get too much of it, you'd say it radicalizes your own soul into wanting to create fire. So if you do similar spells over and over again in this method of casting, your own soul will start to be able to do it on its own. Sounds great. However, because your mind is already committed to, I want to create fire, and now your soul is committed to creating fire, your body will start to change to create fire. This requires a lot of energy. So you'll need to eat fresher food, living things. You'll need to consume soul. Thus, your body will change and it will turn you into a Titan. Try to avoid consuming soul. Your body will try to utilize different parts of itself so it can commit to this metamorphosis either way. Usually this means parts of your brain start to be consumed first. Some high level casters have minds so powerful that this does not become a problem, but it usually is one for beginners who are unaware of this issue. Now, the final way of casting, one we spoke about before, making deals. Devils are the master's soul. That might seem confusing, because we know devils consume soul and break it down, and they themselves do not have a soul. But they are able to utilize soul beyond that of even a god. Because they contain celestial liquor inside themselves, devils have the ability to utilize the soul that they consume to ignite this celestial liquor to create enhanced effect. Another thing devils are able to do is some devils have trained to release soul from their body in other forms of energy, creating fire or lightning. Additionally to that, some devils are so powerful at consuming souls that they're able to consume and absorb other forms of energy, causing temperatures to drop, which can lead to a freezing sensation, or even just making those around them so numb and basically give up. That's not it with devils, though. because they don't have a soul of their own, their mind and body kind of merge. Mortals tend to think of their mind as being stored in the brain, a special organ developed to hold. Devils don't have it. Every part of their body has much of their mind as every other part. So when a devil loses a part of its body, that part still has a mind. The devil can give you a part of itself to go within your own body. That part will have a little bit of celestial liquor, and you, as an individual, can choose to pour your soul into it to use the abilities of the devil. However, doing this results in you losing part of your own soul, which allows the aspect of the devil to start to consume your body and convert it into the devil. This is where we get demons from, as devils will choose to keep certain parts of you still alive, so you're better at containing soul, but all demons eventually end up returning to their devil. So those are 3 basic forms of magic: blessings, casting, and deal. Each has its drawback, each has its concern. It's important to remember, Snails, nothing comes for free. There is always a price, even to these magical abilities that might seem like gift or supernatural. Thank you for watching. Have any questions? Now is the time to ask them. If there's any parts you would like me to go into more detail, please let me know. And for the most curious of you, there is always much more to learn. Signed, Dragonfly.